Greetings, I'm Sophus. Today we're going back to Warhammer to make the Vampire Coast a more enjoyable faction, at least by Warhammer 3 standards. The intent here is to put together something that feels like an update without being too game-changing, unbalanced, or intrusive. The Vampires have got a lot of neat stuff in the workshop that I recommend checking out, but a lot of it errs on the side of being overtuned, adding too many options, or heavily changing the average army composition. The parameters I've used to put the mod list together are as follows. Does it incentivize the intended playstyle of the faction? Does it improve on a lackluster aspect without overtuning it? And does it feel close enough to vanilla? With that, I've come up with the following list. Grapeshot for Vampire Coast Carronades. A very simple mod. Yes, Grapeshot is powerful. Malachi Mackason has to go through campaign mechanics to have it for cannons. I thought about whether it might be overtuned or not to just have it. My conclusion was that for a gunpowder focused faction it was fair enough. And besides, Carronades tended to get overshadowed by the Necrofax Colossus later on. This gives them a solid role and keeps them relevant throughout all the campaign. Vampire Coast reduced upkeep at sea. This does as the name says and adds replenishment at sea no matter what. It's a very simple mod and it incentivizes you to keep the naval faction naval. The next one is Vampire Coast Tech Tree, a tech tree expansion for the coast. There's nothing wrong with the standard tech tree, at least not by Warhammer 2 standards, but they could use some extra goodies to spice up the game and give you more things to look forward to as you progress. Vampire Coast Expanded Hero Skill Trees. Like many other heroes in other factions, the Vampirate heroes could use an update. This mod does just that, and gives you some meaningful choices when leveling up. LTD's High Tide for the Vampire Coast. This mod tweaks pirate coves, expanding on the system and giving you more strategic options. It also has some other minor tweaks to the settlement economy and the cooldown for cove creation with heroes. These tweaks shift your economy, making you prioritize coves more, which does incentivize you to play more as a pirate than an empire builder. It also tweaks armored hulks, which isn't exactly why I've added this mod to the list, but it's harmless enough. It's just a new passive for the unit. Lastly, to make it feel like an update, I considered adding new units. However, I did not feel comfortable in just getting a mod that adds a ton of them, as that would risk breaking the second and third parameters. So my compromise was to pick a mod that added a single unit, one that could give the faction more options without shifting the army composition too badly. I picked the Vargali, Landship of the Undead. Effectively, it's a Marienburg Landship, Vampire Coast version. It gives them a second ship on land and an alternative to the Necrofax Colossus as an army centerpiece. Also, of all the ship mods, is the closest to vanilla balance. So, to wrap things up, I feel this does give the Vampire Coast a fresh coat of paint, and that makes playing them more enjoyable. An honorable mention goes out to mods that give the Vampire Coast the ability to attack from the sea, but at the time I've tested these mods, sadly they did not seem to work. Such a change would actually be a massive quality of life update that hopefully someday CA implements. Anyway, this is just meant to be a short video going over the mod list and explaining why I've picked it. If you'd like to see it in action, here's a link to the full playthrough I did with all these mods installed. That's all for now. I hope you're having a good day and see you in the next one.